Day by day, the helicopters of the Royal Air Force patrol the dense jungle of Southeast Asia, covering forests fought over year after year during the war and the bitter aftermath of war. But yet, in North Malaya, they find time to go out on a steady mercy patrol, ready to lend a hand to the sick while still remaining alerted for any outbreak of serious trouble. In this way, they help a local civilian doctor who comes from London and is employed by the Malayan government. He's flown off to his cases just as normally as a family doctor would drive off to see his patients back home in Britain. He takes 3 days or more on his monthly tour of the small police posts up country, putting down at tiny clearings on airstrips built out of palm branches by the tribesmen. His regular visit is quite a local event, of course. But within a few minutes, he has to be quickly at work, running the stethoscope over a youngster who doesn't seem all that worried about himself. The doctor does a job that covers a parish almost the size of England. It's big and it's hard work. And while he's doing it, the aircrew who fly him have time to cool off. Now the doctor's job is plain. He brings cure and hygiene and even education to the simple peoples of the hot, steaming jungle country. They learn the facts of modern health from his regular lecture. He banks their money for them. He's even their dentist. Now that they trust him, their thanks make up for his bumpy ride getting down through the thermal currents of the tropics. This is a part of the world where the sun is kind and where the flowers are full of exotic colors. It's in a land where nature is rich and living is simple, where life luxuriates in the moist jungle heat. It's a land where every, or almost every, prospect pleases. But throughout the forests, because of their very lushness, lurk the dangers of disease. And it's in the fight against plague and sickness that the helicopter doctor wages his own particular war, knowing that the air crews will always help him to bring the needy patients back to base for surgical or medical treatment. Out here, far from the well-mapped lanes of the world's main air corridors, the doctor can still keep in touch by radio as the RAF flies his cases back to base over the roof of the jungle. Kuala Lumpur itself, so old yet so modern, so unexpected, grows up challengingly and orchid-like from the forests. A few miles away is Gombak Hospital, the base of the doctor's operations. Dropping down on what seems like little more than a small lawn surrounded by hospital buildings could be a tricky business. But it's all part of their job to the pilots, who've been trained to do just this under the worst conditions. They land, unload, and are soon ready to fly off again, heading to their base at Butterworth, 60 miles away. Meanwhile, in what seems like a matter of seconds, the doors are open, and there's no lack of helping hands. And of course, there's special care for a stretcher case. The Treetop Health Patrol is highly organized. For the local RAF headquarters, air crews can be in speedy contact with the outlying landing strips. Pilots are kept in a state of readiness in case there's a sudden emergency of a sterner sort. So there's always a crew at hand for a mercy mission. The helicopters, called choppers in the RAF, can take off almost at a moment's notice for the heart of the jungle. At Gombak Hospital, the doctor is busy. A call for help comes through on the radio phone. A life is in danger in the Aborigine country, just as a new life has started in the ward here. There's been an accident in the doctor's parish. This is the routine he knows so well. The nearest helicopter is at a distant base, so he gets into his car and drives off to get a lift by light plane on the first stage of the rescue operation. At the helicopter base, the crew has already been alerted, and a stretcher is loaded aboard the machine, which soon sets off to rendezvous with the doctor. This is a land of heavy tropical rains, and soon they're bobbing through low cumulus cloud with the windscreen wipers working overtime. Another compass bearing, and the helicopter changes course and finds its way along another valley, flying not much more than tree high over the jungle, the mountains hidden in the clouds. Soon the chopper sets down at a small airstrip, Fort Le Gap, where the crew wait for the doctor to fly in from Gombak. Before long, he arrives in a plane small enough to make the landing. No time is wasted on the changeover, and almost immediately he's airborne again, heading off to his distant patient. Meanwhile, away in the jungle, the patient is being brought down to the river on his way to the nearest airstrip, where the doctor can see him and send him on to hospital. So away he goes on a light craft in a fast stream. For up country, the rivers are the only highways. In his regular tour, the flying doctor may see hundreds of patients. All the time, their numbers increase. But the emergency call always finds him ready for one more. And landing on these clearings is to him as casual a business as if he were pulling up at a filling station back home. The next step is for the stretcher bearers to get the sick man from the river to the waiting chopper. A life may depend on speed and skillful handling, and minutes count if an emergency case is to be taken to a distant hospital. Once the stretcher is aboard, the doctor can relax. From now on, the patient will be in expert hands. A quick goodbye, and away they go. The blade starts spinning, and the slow lift begins, and so the RAF have pulled another case out of the jungle. And once more, men of a fighting service have gone off on a peaceful mission, answering a distant distress call, bringing a stricken man back to recovery.